Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in on this week's episode. It is another mining episode, but this one is just going to be me talking about my experiences and what's going on in the mining world, and other things too. I've got a list, but I haven't done one of these in a while, and I thought you guys would want to hear the firsthand account as to what it has been like mining Bitcoin at home. Um, and it's been a journey. But before we get into that journey, I want to thank again the Bitbox O2 hardware wallet for sponsoring us. And go to shiftcrypto.ch/ Bitcoin made simple. Use the promo code Bitcoin made simple to get 5% off. And secure your keys, because not your keys, not your cheese. Get it off the exchange, and make sure you're protecting your Bitcoin before all the exchanges are insolvent, because that seems to be the theme of this cycle. So, yeah, and also Movies Plus. Yeah, you're going to want to check out Movies Plus. Go to mymoviesplus.com, and you can find it in the app stores. You're going to want to sign up. There's a promo code you can use. We are working with Swan. Use promo code Swan, and you will get a hefty discount on your subscription. And the good news is that it'll basically be free, because then we will hook you up with Swan with the ability to get free Bitcoin. And yeah, we're working with Swan. We have I don't know if you have seen, if you were a subscriber already to Movies Plus, but we have Hard Money with Natalie Brunell. We have her weekly news show that's produced by Swan Studios, and then also in conjunction with Bitcoin Magazine. Um, so we have that show available, and there's other things that we are going to be working on with them. But yeah, we're just very happy to, like their vision, and we couldn't be happier to be working with Swan here as we go forward. And also, we have like other ones too. I think you guys would be interested in. There's the Rise of Jordan Peterson documentary is on there. And I think there's like 5 or 6 total Bitcoin docs. And we're just adding them pretty frequently. But we're adding like other stuff too that's just kind of cool. There's a Beatles one, like a docu-series on the Beatles, and just other stuff. So we're adding it left and right. There's a Kevin Hart, if you're into stand-up comedy, there's a Kevin Hart stand-up special that we got. It's from literally 2006, and I will admit the quality is a little bit low fi, but it's comedy, and it's good, and it's funny, and it's pretty much unheard, because I'm sure you didn't, not a lot of people knew about him back then. Funny quick side story. So my friends used to produce rap beats. Even more funny side story is that way back in the day, me and my best friends, we used to be rappers, real ones. Yeah, we were rappers. This is probably the most embarrassing phase of our lives, and that includes a phase where we all had bowl cuts, and my two friends who were twins, they also had Harry Potter-esque glasses, so they looked like Harry Potter, and I just looked like I don't know what I looked like, but I had a bowl cut with a mullet. Um, so yeah, so a bowl cut with mixed with a mullet, and they looked like Harry Potter. And that phase was less embarrassing than our rapping phase. Um, but anyways, what came of that was interesting, because they were really good at producing rap beats, and so we made some rap beats, and then they started selling them, and um, one thing led to another, and then we became friends with some of the Steelers, and they invited us to like Super Bowl parties. And so anyways, yeah, so we got to know, like, through their rapping and doing rap beats, um we got to know some of the Steelers, which is pretty cool. Maybe I'll share that story another. Actually, okay, so one of them, I think I was 20 years old, or 19, when the Steelers won Super Bowl 40. And one of the players was buying rap beats from them, and then they had a Super Bowl party after, not the day of, but when they got their Super Bowl rings and or whatever, and they had a party, and he invited us to it, and we're like, these like nerdy kids are like, okay, we're gonna look real cool all of a sudden. Um, so yeah, we went down and if my children are listening in the future, your father was totally 21 years old when this happened. Um, but I think it was a 21 and older club and or something like that, whatever it was. And they were asking for IDs at the door, and I had one of the Steelers come out and put his arm around me and walk me through past the and told the security guards that I was cool. I was with them. And I was like, all right, that's pretty much the coolest thing that's happened. It's a really fiat mindset, and it's kind of embarrassing. But as a 19-year-old, I was like, all right, I'm not the loser that everybody thought I was. Turns out I still am. Still am the loser everybody thought. No, I'm kidding. I have more self-esteem than that. But it's all in your mind, people. Um, so anyways, yeah. Oh, the side totally got derailed in the conversation. But so with them doing rap beats, there was this group of rappers that were hosting. There were local Pittsburgh rappers, which other than like Wiz Khalifa and what's his name, the guy that died a couple years ago. Um, Shame that I remember his name. But other than them, there's not too many big Pittsburgh rappers. So there's some Pittsburgh rappers that were having a concert of some sort, and like a party and whatever, and part of it was Kevin Hart doing stand up. So that was like, I mean, I he was literally described on the flyer as Kevin Hart, comedian Kevin Hart, the guy that was in 40-Year-Old Virgin. He was like in that one scene, trying to get a discount on the TVs. So that's how he was known back then. And then he blew up to like huge stardom. And that was pretty cool because then once he was doing like arenas and stuff, I think when he just started doing arenas, my wife was doing marketing at the arena downtown, and so she actually got to meet him too. So he's a cool dude. And I hope he keeps pushing on. I just saw him on Shark Tank actually, uh, and he's pretty business savvy. So excited to see that. But yeah, if you want to see an old Kevin Hart, unseen comedy clip, uh, it's you go check that out on my on Movies Plus. But I'll get into that more later because we have some big things going down with Movies Plus. Really big, really really big. Like this week, there will be probably headlines about it. So excited. Don't want to hype it too much, but I also am staring at like the details of it on a notepad here, and I'm like, holy crap, we're gonna get canceled to hell and back. So anyways, Bitcoin mining. Um, it's noisy. So I have some videos. I think I'll make a YouTube video eventually. I guess in I've been just lazy about it. I don't know. I recorded videos when I was plugging it in the first time, but I mean, holy cow, is that thing loud? And so I've said it on some other podcasts, but like I'm in like the middle side of the top floor of our house, and it's tucked away in the back corner of the other side of the house, like the back side of the house with in the basement by the boiler. And if I take my earbuds out right now, I could hear it. Um, I think, yeah, I mean, I put it in low power mode to just test the profitability, which I'll talk about that in a second. Um, but yeah, it's I plugged it in the first time I plugged it in, and it like starts off and it's like ooh, and I was like, oh, that's not too bad. That's not too noisy. And then it goes like wah, like real loud. And I thought, oh my God, if this is how it stays, I have to throw this machine away. But don't worry when you hear that. I think it's just when you turn the miner on, it's like finding its balance. Um, so it like then ramps up the speed of the fan and then comes down to like where it needs to be. Um, so all in all, it's been it's like we've managed the noise. I had it in regular power mode. I haven't put it in high power mode because God only knows what's going to happen then. But I had it in regular power mode. Um, and it was noisy enough that like after a couple days, like I said to my wife, I said, "So, this is noisier than I thought it was going to be," and she was like, "Yeah." Um, so if you are a single person, then you can deal with it, just go with it. But if you have a wife and kids, you have to be mindful of the fact that you have something really noisy that you're bringing into the house. So if it's going to stay in normal mode, then I'm going to build a black box around it. Um, Instead of, I mean, unless Upstream like sends me one to like sponsor it ASAP, then I probably will just build one, because not being like cheap, I I like on the last podcast, I think the last one that aired was me talking with Rob Warren about his DIY black box, and he has the instructions and everything, and sometimes I like to just do things on my own, which I think is very common for Bitcoiners. We like to just be self-sovereign, self-sufficient, do things on our own. So I wanted to make sure that I try that first, and then as I expand my operation, get into the black boxes, etc. But etc. For those that aren't picking up what I'm putting down, but yeah. So it's a little noisy, but in low mode, I was like, I honestly the first couple days I was like stressed about it. Like hearing the noise was stressing me out, which isn't healthy, because I was like, oh my God, like this is a bad thing. I got kind of used to it. And then whenever I started like oscillating day, like one day I'd put it in low power mode and let it run like that for 24 hours, and then put it in high power mode. And noise wise, low power mode is totally fine. Like there's a little bit of a hum. Now the downside is it drops your tera hash from like, when I was in regular power, it was getting up to like 115. It's advertised as a 110 tera hash, but in regular power mode, it was getting like 115 to 130 on a regular basis. Um, but in low power mode, it's getting like 95, basically, is what the average. Um, and so you're obviously getting less Bitcoin per per block that's found by your pool. Um, but it it's using less electricity. So one of the things I want to talk about is I'm in the process of figuring out. And once I have like, it's probably gonna take me a couple months, because I want to have 2 clean months running at the same power uninterrupted for the same number of days, or at least if I can get 2 week stretches where like I don't have to turn it off at all, because I haven't had to turn it off for about a month. But like my sister and brother-in-law and baby nephew will be staying with us like this upcoming weekend, and the guest room is on the other side of the wall that the miner's on. So I'm probably going to turn it off, just so that my 3-month-old nephew can actually sleep. Um, but if I can get uninterrupted stretches, because I was doing day by day, switching the terahash or switching the power mode up and down. But with a block, if you are into it and you using something like slush pool, which is what I'm using, um, it is a variable. Some like there will be times where it's like they get like 3 blocks in a row, which is rare. Every once in a while they get 2 blocks in a row. Um, but then sometimes it'll go like 9-10 hours without solving a block. Um, and I think the longest I've seen it go is like 13 hours without solving a block. Um, so, anyways, you need a longer period of time you need a longer sample to be able to judge the efficiency. But Rob had said, and there's other people I've talked to that said they have friends that swear that in low power mode, you actually get a better bang for your buck, as far as the electricity. So you know, for every dollar of electricity, right now with the low Bitcoin price, let's just hypothetically say for every dollar of electricity that you use in normal mode, maybe you get $1.40 in Bitcoin. But for every dollar of electricity you use in normal mode, you get $1.50 in Bitcoin. So it's, but you get less Bitcoin. So it's just, it all comes down to how you are planning on doing. If you're trying to be more efficient and profitable, or if you're just trying to cram as much Bitcoin into your Bitcoin wallet as possible before that happening. So, um, yeah, I'll have a longer study there, but right now I'm running in low power mode just for the noise sake. Um, and I want to have I want to be able to make sure that I get sorry for the oh my god, sorry. I was exhausted. Um, but I'll get some studies on that. And um and I'm gonna work on moving the ASIC over to one like I'm gonna test something I think with my brother-in-law this weekend when he's here if I can get the supplies. Um is putting an extra outlet, and he's an electrical engineer, so I can do it with him. Um, uh, so I always recommend get a certified electrician. I had a certified electrician put in the first one, but yeah, I want to make sure that anything additional, because I figured once I did that, and plus my brother-in-law's out of state, so whenever he comes in, I could have him look at it and he'll just go off of what they did. And So, anyways, we're gonna run a new line out into the storage area under our house, and I can vent the exhaust right outside. There's a vent there, because I was gonna drill a hole in the ceiling and then up into the laundry room and then like out the window, or I was gonna come out like a little space that I had where I could put a tube. But you're gonna want an 8-inch exhaust. And it doesn't sound like it's that big, but like when you get an 8-inch like PVC tube or HVAC tube, you're gonna be like, oh my god, it's a lot bigger than I thought. Um, so you're gonna want 8 inches though, because otherwise, I've had Adam O told me at the conference, and a couple other people have mentioned. They said 6 inches is definitely gonna choke off the exhaust, and it's going to make it potentially overheat. Um, so anyways, and then also, you know, it'll cut down on the noise if it's out there. But I'm figuring in the summertime, blow the heat out there and like directly outside. And then wintertime, just switch it over to the one that I have by the boiler, where I'm going to put a duct that goes straight into my HVAC system and just blows the heat into the house. So I don't like winter, and I want summer, this beautiful summer weather that I'm staring at, to stay here forever. But we will definitely be will definitely be in it'll be interesting, and I'm excited to see how this winter goes, and potentially not having to heat my house at all. That would be great. So anyways, yeah, that trying to think what other thoughts I had on the miner itself. Oh, and like, so the inline fans, I put that in the show notes with Rob, the last episode, so check that out. He talked about it. But inline fans really help with the noise, because it's not going to it's not going to make there be less heat. Which I'll say, like, right now, I think I told you guys before, but I have it in the boiler room, which is off of our like exercise room, and that is off of the basement. So it's pretty removed. So it doesn't really affect the heat of the basement. I don't think our air conditioner is running more because of the ASIC. It I mean, it could be a tad, but it's not excessive. It's not heating the house. We're not having trouble keeping the house cool. Um, but I don't have much to judge that by, because like this is our first summer in this house, so I don't know, how much we would normally be running the AC. And I also don't have like meters checking each thing yet. I probably will get there eventually, where I'll have like a meter on every line coming out of the breaker boxes. And if it make my house as efficient as possible. But what was I talking about? The ASIC, the heat. Oh, the inline fan. So the inline fan, what it does is it pumps in more heat or more air to cool off, which then requires your fans that are on the actual miner to run at a slower speed, making them quieter. So inline fans specifically help with the noise. So that's something that I want to fool around with to see how that works, because um like I said, the noise is probably the biggest factor. Like the heat. Oh, the reason I brought up the heat with the exercise room and everything there is that the heat doesn't get to the rest of the house. It escapes, I think, up into the rooms that are above there, but it's right next to the garage, so it kind of like, I think, seeps outside pretty easily. I could be wrong. I'll find out and I'll update you guys in the future if I am wrong. But it makes like the exercise room and the boiler room are like a steady 80 degrees. Um and that's so it's pretty warm, and it helps you, get your sweat on when you're exercising for sure. But so yeah, if you're gonna put it in like a random room in your house, it's gonna make I like let's just say if you're someone that has like an extra bedroom or something that you want to plug it in, first of all, prepare for the noise. Second of all, put it right next to the window, and just in the summertime here, pump that heat straight out. I'd recommend it in your garage if possible, where, especially if you have a garage below your living dwelling, then it'll heat your house pretty easily just through osmosis. Um, but the inline fan, the more it the because the fans that are on the ASIC, they're not like cheap. They could be better, um but they are loud. It's the fan itself that makes the noise. And so there's other inline fans that you can get for like HVAC systems that are quieter. So I want to get one. Rob showed me one, but what I did in the interim was I actually took, like, we had one of those, God, I don't know, it's probably like 2 feet long, 2 feet wide, or 18-inch or whatever, fan, like one of those ones that you plug in for outside. Like, we put it, like, if it's a really hot day working in the garage or something like that with the doors open, then one of those types of fans that can sit on the ground. And um or like if my in-laws are over and my father-in-law is had heart surgery before and stuff like that, it's a hot day, blow the fan on him so that my mother-in-law doesn't stress and worry that he's gonna overheat or anything like that. So one of those fans, the anti-overheater of in-laws fan, I guess. But yeah, I got one of those. I propped it up on a chair and like put it maybe a foot behind the intake fan of the miner, and just put it on full blast. So that thing is running 24/7 with the miner, and I think it did help with the noise. So I didn't check decibel levels, but I can tell you over the last month it's been much, much quieter, which has been a breath of fresh air. So, inline fans, I think I'm gonna try and get an 8-inch one that is supposed to be quiet, but also move a lot of air, more air than's needed for the ASIC, and pump that through. And then I'll worry about the heat next, and then possibly building my own black box, because if I talked about it with Rob, and I put his details in the show notes, the last one. I guess I'll grab those and put them in this show notes as well. But like uh Steve Barber with Upstream, which, by the way, I think I'm interviewing him tomorrow, so he'll probably be next week's episode. um he put out the drawings of what he came up with for the black box. And then Rob took those and did them. So you can basically get like the sheet. I think it's an 8 foot by 4 foot sheet of plywood, and then you can get the asphalt impregnated board or whatever it's called, is one of the layers. And it comes, like, if you go to Home Depot or Lowe's, it comes in an 8 foot by 4 foot sheet. So Steve and Rob have drawn out how to cut all the pieces, and you can literally cut them out of that sheet without any waste. So take it to your I went to Home Depot. I didn't buy it yet. I was just kind of like scouting it while we were there getting like gardening stuff. And I asked them, I said, if I bring this to you, do you guys like cut it to those measurements? And they said, yeah, we'll do it. So, I think technically they say they're not supposed to be doing professional, measurement project cuts or something like that. But like, the guys at the store are like, yeah, I mean, we do it all the time. If you come in and, they're not going to do like, they're not going to do cuts down to like, like fine tooth for, like nice furniture, or, you're replacing stairwells and, the nice handrails, stuff like that. They're not probably going to do that. But if you have a board and you're going to cut it into like 15 pieces, they'll do it. So I would recommend you do that. And then once you bring it home, just with your own saw, you could probably probably figure out how to rough it if you need to, like, trim any edges or and whatnot. Also for transportation, Rob put this in his article, but for transportation, it definitely will help, because a 4 foot by 8 foot board is not even going to fit in my SUV. I'd have to borrow somebody's truck, and you know how that goes. You only want to ask to borrow somebody's truck when you really need it, because that's pretty annoying. So anyways, and so noise. So I mean, the price of an ASIC, if you're looking to get one, I would get one now, because I've seen them around, with the price of Bitcoin being down to the 20K. I've seen the price of Bitcoin, or of miners, drop even below 5,000, like 4,500 in some cases, for a decent miner. So if you're looking to get in, and let's just say had you're looking at a pile of savings cash that you haven't put into Bitcoin yet, and you're looking to buy it, now would be a great time. Because when I bought, it was like 8,800 bucks or something like that. So it but I will say, I actually was like pretty much on zero. So I wasn't pulling money out of my bank account to buy that. I had to exchange Bitcoin for the miner. So it was 0.22 Bitcoin, and whenever I did it, because the price was like 40, let's see, was it 40,000? Yeah, it was at 40,000. It was 0.22 Bitcoin for, and so the price was $8,800. Now, right now, at 40,000 or $20,000, 0.22 Bitcoin is $4,400. But I'm seeing a lot. Most ASICs are around five. I think the same one that I bought is around 5,000. I think it's actually a little bit above 5,000 for the 110 terahash. So, don't quote me on the prices, but my point being is that it will be cheaper in Bitcoin terms if you are converting Bitcoin into an ASIC instead of cash into an ASIC. So yeah, I would definitely buy one now. If you're on zero and you have to sell Bitcoin, it actually probably be cheaper in a little bit in the future. But in the profitability, it isn't hugely profitable right now. So people price and they're like, wow, like, boy, it sucks for you. You bought a miner and the price of Bitcoin just puked. Yeah, I mean, that kind of sucks, but I'm hodling. So, and I've mentioned before to people, it's a good way to get your clean KYC free Bitcoin. But it also is, it will be profitable in the long run. I know it will be. Um, and so right now, like, I'll pull up the numbers of what it's doing. But profitability wise, like, I was my first full month of electricity, I think our electric bill had added like, it added something like $230. But I think I had, I mean, it's not huge. I think I mined like $250 or $60 worth of Bitcoin that month. Um, so we're like, pretty close. I think if they get down to like 13 grand, and my electricity is 11 cents per kilowatt hour. If it got down to 13K, we'd be basically break even, roughly, give or take. But I'm not really caring about that. I'm just rolling with it and letting this go. Because the price isn't staying there forever. And anyways, so yeah, you get profitability isn't that great, but it will eventually kick back up. We all know that. And I look at it as this: it's a KYC free DCA that I'm doing. Because even if that one miner right now is only making $270 a month, and it costs me $230 a month, so I'm getting a $40 bonus in sats, or discount in sats. Even if that's all it's doing right now, then and it might even be worse than that. I honestly, I'm telling you guys pretty like off the cuff here, just not looking at like a spreadsheet. It'll, in the long run, I know it'll be fine, and then the profitability will pick up. But really, what I need to get to is to the point where I've recouped the 0.22 Bitcoin. So out of the profits of so making $40 in profit a month, it's going to take a while to do that. But the price will rebound, it'll kick up, or I hope a bunch of people just get scared off here and the difficulty goes down, and I mine more Bitcoin at this low price, and we stay at this low price for a while, and I just buy more. So yeah, profitability, it isn't huge, but then again, like my mindset was to, like, if you're buying a business, what business can kick off free cash flows immediately? Not many. So if you are buying one and it's like right now the profitability is low, that's a bummer, but at least it's still profitable from a business perspective. You're not losing money. And then getting into it just opens doors for you. Like, so I have some different business opportunities. I've been talking to different people, and we're looking at mining Bitcoin off of stranded natural gas, and all these things that honestly would not be coming up if I wasn't exploring this Bitcoin mining world. So yeah, I recommend you get into it, because it's not a bad decision in the long run. If you have a low time preference, it's not a bad decision. And in the long run, you will learn a ton, and it will open your eyes to this new side of Bitcoin. So yeah, that's pretty much what I have. Well, so I got to talk to you guys about Movies Plus. So you guys have been a huge supporter of the platform, and I couldn't be happier. Oh, by the way, shout out again to the BitBox02 hardware wallet from Shift Crypto. Go to shiftcrypto.ch/Bitcoin made simple. Use the promo code Bitcoin made simple to use. Get 5% off. One breath. I did it all in one breath. Yeah, shiftcrypto.ch/Bitcoin made simple. Get the BitBox02 hardware wallet and get your keys off the exchange. Movies Plus. So this isn't me just shilling it. This is me just talking about it as a business owner. So you guys can get a little insight as to what's going on in my brain and what goes on in the brain of us entrepreneurs, because sometimes I wonder if we are just insane for what we put ourselves through. But like, I'll tell you, like, I mean, things are all right. Like, we're just kind of like cruising along and breaking even, doing okay. Cash was slowly building, but it wasn't like, nothing was like the big growth that I wanted it to be. And I kind of just felt listless, felt like rudderless, where it was just like, come on, something's got to kick. I'm trying to kick all these things into motion, and I can't share the details at the moment, but you guys will see it, because I'm recording this, literally Monday morning, like first thing, and putting it out there. So it'll be out this, afternoon or whatever. And I later this week we'll have our news and headlines about what we're announcing, I think, coming out, or at least over the next couple weeks. But we're about to make some waves. And I think it'll be good for business. But it also it's gonna cause a shitstorm, and it's gonna come flying right in my face, just for being a platform that partners with certain things. So, um, I have felt alive ever since we started to kick this up again. And it's, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, there's no worse feeling than whenever you're just like rudderless and you're just sitting there, you're like pulling on the cord on the engine, trying to get the boat to start, and you're like in like the current. Basically the best analogy is you're on a river and the current is taking you forward. So if you just sit still and don't do anything, you're still moving forward, but it's not satisfying. It's not getting you where you want to go. You have to get the engine to start. Um, so that is what a entrepreneur goes through. It's just, you know, sweating bullets and tirelessly pulling that cord over and over and over again, to the point that you think you're just insane and nothing's ever going to work. But you have to keep at it. And just when you feel like you're at your wit's end, that's whenever all of a sudden, um, things start to seem to make sense. You seem to start pushing the right buttons. So I think I'm pushing the right buttons right now, and you guys will find out over the coming weeks, because it's going to be interesting. But so I'm going to refer to God in this sense, but you should, if you don't want to look at it that way and you want to look at it as the universe or whatever, however you know get your chi and whatever, view it through your own lens. But I realized I was like at a moment of just like, I was like, God damn it, like nothing's working. What the hell do I have to do? And I basically realized that I was trying to control everything that happened. And so like you have to let God take control. And if you want to talk about the universe, you have to let the universe take control. But let fate play out, and your hesitancies about certain things will get in the way and make you stop fate from playing out, stop what's supposed to happen from happening, because you're scared, because you're intimidated. And to be honest with you, I was not for the reason, I'm not going to disclose the reasons why, but I was. And I realized I had been for like a year, and just been like hesitant and being like, looking up at the heavens, like, all right, dude, you put me in this position. Why isn't anything working at the moment? And so sounds a little storybook, but it was like I was talking to my dad about it, like frustrations of business late one night recently, and then he said, you just have to let go and trust in God, and you have to trust the process, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I haven't been doing that this whole time. And as soon as I realized that, it was my own fears getting in the way, um, I mean, I'm saying like literally the next 48 hours was nothing but everything coming up roses, everything coming up aces. I was crushing it, and every button I was pushing was the right button to push. Um, and ever since then, it really hasn't slowed down. Um, so it was just one of those things. It was like I had that realization. The next day, things were on fire and going well. And I told my wife, I said, this is the realization I had. And I explained, like, because I was basically being a wuss and like afraid of what was to come, and letting my fear control me. And letting fear control you is like the worst thing you could do. Um, and so I always try to make sure my fears don't control me. Um, and, and I was letting fear control me for a while. And I told her, I said, but this is what is going to happen if I, like we go forward here. Are you prepared for that? Are you prepared to deal with me? Which is basically what she has to do. She has to, hold me together and help me push forward, or help me, guide me like in the right way, to ignore things, whatever, however it works. And she was like, yeah, let's go for it. So that's how we've done things in the past. That's how we, I was hesitant about bringing on uh the Trump movie, just because I was kind of like nervous what was going to happen. I liked being in the shadows selling movies. I think I said this recently on a couple podcasts, but you know, I don't like as much. I run a podcast, so it sounds like I like being in the spotlight, but I don't. Um, and I might have mentioned this before on the podcast, but like this was a test to get me out of my comfort zone and like learn more about Bitcoin and all that kind of stuff. But the actual idea of making a podcast was like, okay, Cory, you have to get out of your comfort zone and try new things, because if you're not trying new things and getting out of your comfort zone, you're not growing. And so it was like, I guess I was getting stale. It's like I could have just slowly sold movies for the rest of my life and, had a quiet life and, just drifted off into the abyss. Um, but that wouldn't be a purposeful life. Um, that wouldn't be living with purpose. So here I am living with purpose, and I'm here to tell you plebs that I appreciate your support in that fight, because as you know, my fight with Movies Plus is a fight for freedom of speech. Um, and so we are fighting tooth and nail to preserve freedom of speech. And in it, you guys make up a ton of the content that's viewed. Because whether it's the general public that are our subscribers or you guys, um, most of the content that's watched is like always Bitcoin content is always landing in the top 10 of like our weekly streams. So so you guys have to be going there and listening and watching. And I really appreciate that, because this platform, Movies Plus, has thus far been built just by plebs. It's a pleb platform at the moment. Obviously, at some point when we reach critical mass, it'll be more than just plebs that are subscribing. And I mean, there's more than just plebs subscribing now, but I really say that you guys support, on the support end outside of financial, but just supporting the cause. Um, but it will truly have started as a pleb built platform, and will stay that way. Stay true to the Bitcoin message. So anyways, that is enough from me. I think I've been rambling for a while, and hopefully you guys got something out of this with the mining and what you're doing at home. If you want to get into it, I suggest you do it. And yeah, please, keep your eyes peeled. We have some headlines coming out, and keep supporting us. We really appreciate everything you guys do, not just at the podcast, but also at Movies Plus. And one more shout out to the support we receive from Shift Crypto with the BitBox02 hardware wallet, our sponsor. Get your keys off the exchange. Go to shiftcrypto.ch/Bitcoin made simple. Use the promo code Bitcoin made simple to get 5% off and secure your keys. All right, guys, I appreciate all of you. I appreciate you listening, and I will talk to you next time.